we love this calming music? All the women in us, we do. A very, 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 very best wishes to all the women out there. Wish you a very happy Women's Day. Secretly, I feel it is our day every day. But I did not say it to anybody who wished me, especially my male friends. I just said thank you to them because I thought that if I tell them it's my day every day, they might perceive me as rude, which I am not. Good evening, good afternoon, and greetings of the day. My name is Simran Balani. I'm live from Bangalore, representing ECDF. ECDF is out there doing things and getting noticed. Here is your chance to become a member if you're not. And there will be a lot of information if you're joining us from FB Live and YouTube Live. We will send you the membership information. And we thank everybody who's joining us from any part of the world. Welcome. And before I begin the show, I want to salute the woman in you and the men out there who are supporting us, being our friends, being our guides, and smiling along with us. Thank you very much for being with us. And a special thank you to Dr. Wasavi for time and again giving us this platform. A big round of applause. And before I go to the lovely ladies that I have and who are going to talk from their heart today, this is a non scripted show. We are going to talk about our real life experiences. Let me start this evening with a very special quote. When I shared with this group, it touched our hearts, and we said, yes, that's all we need to do this show. So let me just share my screen. There we go. Are we able to see this? Yeah.
Simran?
Yeah, great. So let me read those very slowly to you. What if I fall? The little voice inside me said. Then my heart answered, oh, my darling, but what if you fly? Isn't this what happens to us most of the days? And we kind of encourage ourselves, we kind of encourage our friends, we encourage our siblings, and the story goes on. So, this is what our theme is today, ladies and gentlemen, talking about how we have been resilient each day, how we have managed, and how we are a true jugglers. And yes, this would be the evening to pat ourselves on the back and enjoy the day which is meant for us. Now, to get this evening started, let me call upon Dr. Wasavi to introduce herself and talk to us about a humorous but a very daring incident of her life. Over to you, Dr. Wasavi.
Thank you, Simran, and wishing everybody a very, very happy Women's Day, all the women out there, everybody who is kind of, we know as women what we go through at times, but we all come out of it, we all forge our way ahead, and we make a pathway. Uh, Today, well, I'm Dr. Vasavi Acharya, the founder chairperson, Early Child Development Forum, and we've been doing a lot of work related to children and women, and we do a lot of trainings and all of it. And today, I feel being International Women's Day, like Simran already said, our day is every day, and it's how we feel and how we think about it. But then this is a special day to really actually, which is dedicated to us. So why not make the best out of it? Uh, and coming to the first question that she asked, the most daring but humorous incident, I would say this is, I don't know if it's daring, but it's very humorous because I started my first school when I was only 22 years. I got back from Delhi University. I've completed my post graduation, and then I came back home and I started my school because, because I stayed away from my hometown for a very long time. And basically, I wanted to start something here, and I didn't have too many people, who I knew here. And then when I started the school, being so young, the parents would come to the center, to my play school, and would ask me, "Where's the principal? Whose school is this? And where's the principal? Can we have a word with her?" And I would say, "No, this is my school, and I'm running it, and I've got my teachers." And they would, kind of always get a little shocked because they get their 2 years and 3 years old children, and they think that probably this girls who look so young will not be able to take care of the child. And that used to be such a major problem for me. And then I started asking my mother, what should I do to look older? And I actually started wearing clothes, and that made me look older so that people had the confidence in me. And that is how I started this journey. And it's been a long, long time. It's been 20 years. And now probably I look older and more dependable. And that is why I'm doing a lot of stuff. But that was a time which was so, so frustrating, yet it was so funny. And this is what I wanted to share, Simran.
Superb, Doc. Wow. And starting at 22. Remarkable. Superb. What an inspiration. Thank you very much for introducing yourself, and hats off to you for doing the remarkable work you're doing and having the same passion and excitement each time you're planning the event. And it's just like when you call me or when you're talking to me, it is as if you're doing the first one. It is for the first time, and your excitement is just amazing. It keeps me going. It makes me want to contribute more and more. Thank you very much, Dr. Vasavi. And I now go to Abigail. Abigail, would you kindly unmute yourself and introduce yourself and talk to us about your humorous but daring incident?
Thank you, Simran. And yes, happy Women's Day to you all. And really, thank you so much for inviting me back again. It's wonderful to talk again with ECDF and to meet some lovely ladies, some of you again, actually, from last time. So thank you very much. I've actually had a similar experience to you, Dr. Vasavi, when parents have said, "Are you the principal? Oh, you're too young." But actually, when I was thinking of a humorous but daring story, I actually cast my mind back to slightly earlier, when I was about 19 years old, when I decided, my father at the time was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" To pack one backpack and go off around Asia, from the UK originally. And I learned very quickly that you have to roll up all your clothes to be able to fit them into your backpack well. So I did that. I probably rolled up almost every single item of clothing I had. At the time I was like, I can't leave this behind, I can't leave that behind. And I went off backpacking by myself with this backpack. I'm 5'3", and my backpack is about 4 foot, with almost all my clothes in from the UK. And there I was on my own, waving goodbye to my dad. And actually the quote that you said earlier was very similar to what he said to me. He said, "Are you sure you're not going to fall?" And I'm like, now I should say to him, "Look, I flew." And I just had a wonderful time. But I did have some incidences where I was determined to carry that backpack by myself. And I did most of the way around, apart from one time when I was getting off a boat, traveling to an island, and I almost toppled over into the, people had to actually stop me and carry me and push me back onto the dry land rather than falling into the sea. I didn't tell my dad that, but if he's watching, you might find out now. But yeah, that's my little story. I did kind of cast my mind back. Was lovely to think of it. And now here I am in Hong Kong. Just a few years later, I just left England and actually moved over to Hong Kong.
Super. Wow, too good. You know what, now that I'm thinking, I don't have any kind of a very daring incident, but I was thrown out of a casino in Las Vegas in one of my recent trips with my husband. And one of the lady who was watching for maybe youngsters called me. I'm a kind of a petite, you can't tell like this. And she said, "Your ID, please." And I was not carrying my ID. She said, "Would you mind waiting outside?" And I did go outside, only to find my way back inside and trying avoiding her for all the evening. I think that was my incident. Anyways, thank you very much, Abigail, for sharing yours. And may I please move to Claire. Claire, over to you. Kindly unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and talk to us about your incident.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for my first appearance here. It's really nice to meet everybody, and thank you for including me. And I'm so excited to have found you in the world out there, and to become part of this amazing opportunity for everybody working in this area. And happy Women's Day to all of us. and to all the men who support us on our journeys, because I think it's really important to spend one day where we really celebrate us. And it's very exciting to be part of it. I am Claire Stead. I'm the creator and founder of the Aliki app, which is an app for parents from conception to 2 to help them build their baby a strong brain through play, and to build parenting confidence. And I spent a long time thinking about this, and then I just thought, actually the most defining and daring thing that I did was very early on. I decided I would say yes to every opportunity. And that has led to some quite funny situations that have happened along the way. So one of them was that I decided that I would be, no one wanted to marry me, nobody loved me. So I decided to be single and foster at 40, and 2 days later met my husband. Then I decided to go around the world and work in New Zealand, and went for a job interview. I had 5 lined up that day, and they said to me, and this is your classroom for Monday. So, okay, this is the job I'll have then. So I took that job, and that was really where I learned to teach, because it was so challenging. But then the next one was, to go around the corner to a very scary but very professional lady who I admired deeply, and say, I'm hating my job at the moment. Have you got any jobs? She said, yes, sure. Do you want to start on Monday? So I started on Monday, but on Monday morning I had to say, what do we do? Because I had no idea what job she did. And that's how I became an education researcher. And then the one that was really stepping out of the comfort zone was, I was on a plane flying from Zambia to England, no, other way around, England to Zambia. And there was another Brit that I ended up sitting next to. Now, 2 Brits sat together 9 hours. Obviously, for 8 of those hours, we sat looking forward and didn't talk to each other because we were British. But eventually, I plucked up the guts to say, what's that? And he told me that it was an e-reader. And I basically ended up working for him for the next 10 years and putting the whole of primary education on a tablet for African kids to get international standard education. But it was that risk of saying yes to every opportunity that has made all of these amazing adventures happen. But boy, that last one was a big risk for a Brit, not talking about the weather.
That was a good one. And imagine working for him. Wow, super. Working with him.
Well, what was amazing was he had the biggest ISP provider in Zambia, and I happened to be the only learning specialist in Zambia. I mean, it couldn't have been more of a union, but one wouldn't have known if one hadn't had that sort of braveness to say, I'm going to take this adventure. So
yes, very true. And then, you know what, I think I learned early on from my parents that there is no work which is small or big. So yeah, you just start. You just like, especially when you're young, and I know there are a lot of young women listening to us out there. Say yes. Yeah, I love it. I like it, Claire. Very good message out there. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And over to you, Jennifer. Unmute yourself and kindly introduce yourself. Over to you.
Yep, so I'm Jennifer and owner of Breakthrough, and I want to say thank you for letting me come here and enjoy all these lovely stories, and happy Women's Day. Okay, so this story actually kind of fits into several different categories. It was daring because I worked in a prison. It was my very first job working in life skills, and I decided to go and teach, communication and anger management. That was a great one. And this was in the 90s, and the school shootings had just started happening in America, and there was a really large one that happened. And so I was also teaching the same program in the community at a high school, and we were graduating. So I brought a cake, and so I had this really big knife, like this really crazy big knife to cut this cake. And then because it was the shootings and stuff, I didn't want to carry around this knife in the high school. It was like, people were really freaking out, obviously. So I put it in my bag, and because out of sight, out of mind, this is the silly part of the story, I just completely forgot it was there. And so in my little world, I just went and went right to prison. And thankfully, that day I was actually training somebody who was going to be helping to teach. And so we went into this other room, because I worked there for years, so I didn't have to go in through the metal detector or anything. So nobody would have known I was bringing in a Bowie knife, you know. But thankfully I was bringing in this other lady. And so, and thankfully somehow for some reason, someone didn't have a pin. And so I opened my bag and I did one of those like numbers, like, what is this in my bag? And I couldn't believe it. My heart just sank. And I was like, I don't even know how to get out of this scenario. Because like, do I just go to the control center and say, excuse me, I brought a knife into prison? You know, I just felt so silly. It was horrible. But thankfully, the guy in the control center, the officer, was very friendly, and we knew each other. And so I, you know, said, I hope you think this is as funny as I do, because this is just one of my moments. And so I, you know, they took out a little drawer and let me put my knife into the drawer, and then they slid it back, and I just went and did my class. But it was absolutely, yeah, hysterical and horrifying, and thank God lucky. So.
Sounds super. Too good. Thanks, Jennifer, for sharing that with us. And I now move to Rita Das. Kindly unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and talk to us about your incident.
Thank you, Simran. It is nice connecting with all of you once again. And well, ECDF found me out. So I thank them first of all. And my first experience with you all was on the 12th of last month. So it was wonderful. And the internet is a little problem out here since past 2 days.
No problem, Rita.
Okay.
You can at least,
okay.
yeah, you can share your, and introduce yourself.
Okay. I actually qualify as a textile designer and as a psychologist, but I never got a chance to work in that. So I started as a volunteer in US as a teacher, a preschool teacher, a daycare teacher, a teen moms teacher, and I moved on from there. And when I came back to India, I stayed on into teaching arena, and I'm really happy that I'm here. Today, I do content writing for TIFO and for QMaths. That's a capital Q Maths, and that deals with removing the phobia of the children of mathematics. So it has been wonderful. And the most daring thing I would say is challenging my daughter when she was a teenager, when she was doing her engineering. She was in a first year engineering program. And we were all sitting as a family, my parents and everybody. And I said, can you make a cup of tea for everyone? She said, you are asking a future engineer to make a cup of tea? I'm not supposed to do that. So I explained to her, I said, I bless you. You become a president or a CEO or head any of the companies. But dear, when you come home, you're going to be the daughter, you're going to be the daughter-in-law, you're going to be the mother, you're going to be the wife. So you need to balance your life. So today I'm proud that she is an engineer and a data scientist, and she is working on balancing her life. So maybe that was daring that I dared her to make tea. So that's it. I'm also an author. Thank you. I'm also an author of 2 books for the children, which were published by Scholastics India. So here I am today with all of you, meeting once again a lot of people, and it's nice connecting with everyone when you're in the same field. Simran, to you.
Thank you so much. And that's a lovely daring incident when we dare our children, especially the daughters, who are negotiators at very early age. So hats off to all of us. And now, the last but not the least, I'll move to Serlene Kaur. Over to you. Kindly unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for the invite again. And I'm pleased to be here again with so good people around here. Thank you so much, ECDF, for giving me this opportunity. And yes, I am a personality coach. I am an author, and I've been an educator for the last 18 years. Yeah, my incident actually was a daring one, definitely humorous too. After my post-graduation, I had that urge to start to work. And luckily, I was in the metros, and a company called me up. So like before that, we were in our young age and we were celebrating. Just before that, we all went to a restaurant. We were like 7 to 8 friends, and we and we had on the other table two of the professionals discussing something very seriously, and they were actually doubting if a woman could do this. I tried a lot. I should not be interrupting, but as a personality coach, I had that in me and I did. And I told the person, I said, do you really agree what the second person was saying? And we just looked at each other and I left. I was sure that person is not going to miss on my face anytime he meets me again. Guess what? The next day, I have an interview, and there sits my boss
Wow.
who was there looking at me, and I knew I'd lost it. But you know what? I worked with him for 5 good years, did content writing for him, and he was so pleased that I had those guts to say. So that was actually daring, unknowingly though, but yes, it was humorous when we actually met the other day around at 10 a.m. That's
This is
quite,
out of a movie. This scene seems like out of a movie. Wow.
yeah, it does. It does.
Wow, great. Thanks, Verlene. Wow. Imagine how many, and these are just one of these humorous and daring incidents. Imagine what all we have up the sleeve, but of course, we cannot cover all of it. And we move to our second segment where we want to talk about a little bit of a serious stuff, not really serious, but a story of our own lives where we do that every day, but something stands out and goes somewhere in a part of our memory, and we kind of go back and say, well, you know what, I did that, then why can't I do this? So what was there or did that where you manage your work, you manage your life, you were anxious, you were trying to manage your home? What was it? So I'll start with Dr. Vasavi. Over to you, Dr. Vasavi.
Oh, it was so amazing to hear all the stories, the daring and the humorous ones. And now coming to life incidences that actually, kind of, yes, moved me out of my comfort zone was the time when I launched my company in 2013. We launched Tender Petals. And then the expectations from me, because we have our expectations on the home front, we have our professional calling, and there are different roles that as women we have to play. And like Rita Das had said, that even if you are the head of a huge, big company, a CEO, but then there are certain things you need to do all the time when you're home. So yes, this was a time when my husband was not so ready that I would become that, a professional of that kind. He would be going for meeting after meeting and would get home late and all of that. So it was kind of a little challenging for me because I had to really maintain a work life balance. My son was very young. He was barely a year old when I launched the company, and it was really, juggling from work to home, home to work. And it kind of frustrated me at times. But then again, if you have that passion to do things, I think it's going to take you on anyway. So that was really, really interesting. And I think it was, my mother had supported me a lot, because my mother, being a single mom, I lost my father very young, had actually juggled. And probably I saw that. And since I was always in the hostel, when I grew up, I was in the hostel. So even that helped me to maintain this work-life balance. And very frankly speaking, and I'll be, winding up with this, I was raised in a family of all women, because we are 4 daughters and my mother. And we actually did not understand male chauvinism, or that hierarchy, that every society has, where a male gets some kind of leading status. I don't know what extra work they do, but they have this leading status. So, so at the end of the day, we end up doing all the multitasking. So it was a little bit of culture shock for me when right after I got married. And then I kind of, because I'm a very good, I can convince people. So I convinced my husband. And if he would ask me for, very good food, because I never cook, I would say, see, everything goes to the stomach and becomes one. So you just have whatever I give. And so that way I kind of negotiated my way. And today here I am. And that's my story of struggle, which actually makes me laugh at times, because I really, even my son, he used to, cling to me. And I would say, you've got such a handsome father, go and cling to him. Don't cling to me. I'm doing some work. So that's the way I negotiated. It's like really funny, but yeah. And then I had my way.
Wow.
So I generally live by my rules. at the end of the day.
Too good. And we all find our way, don't we? Thank you so much, Dr. Vasavi, for sharing that. And I go to Abigail. Abigail, let's hear about you.
Thank you. Yeah, very nice to hear. And I think I'm coming maybe from, I'm not sure about everyone else. When I hear your stories, we'll see, but I'm not a mother, actually. I'm a wife and a daughter-in-law, a sister-in-law, a sister, and a daughter. And it's family is very important in Hong Kong. And it's always been, you know, a big part of our lives to be around all our family. But I think I wanted to share something that's happened to me over the last few years. And it comes from a place where I was so driven by work. I became the head of a preschool in 2017, and I was so dedicated to this job. It was a big job, and it was one of those where I had parents saying, "Oh, you're the principal, you look too young." It was one of those, so you know, you kind of put a bit more effort, get the clothes on, but you also work extra hard because you feel that, you know, maybe you need to prove something to people. And I wanted to prove it to myself. You know, this was a big job and we did so good. The founding team in that preschool was amazing. And the preschool did really well. But unfortunately, in 2019, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And not to get too serious, there's a very happy ending, don't worry. But what I found through that experience was, and my husband will attest to this, the second thing, so the first thing I asked was, what do we do? The second thing I asked was, can I still work? Because I was so dedicated to that job, and I'm a workaholic, I think, in many ways. And I think I learned a lot from that second question about myself. And I did continue to work for the first part. I had about 3 months where I worked with other colleagues, delegating, but also supporting them. And I found that after a few months, it wasn't going to work for me and the school. And, you know, so I actually took sick leave. And it was during that time when I received complete remission and, you know, had a very good response and felt kind of, you know, elated at that point. And it was during that time when I met not just one, but 4 amazing women who came into my life somehow. I don't know how they came into my life. They just kind of popped up on social media. One was a lady who was supporting me with my health, you know, looking up to getting better and working through diet and things like that. Another lady who was supporting people to open their own business and kind of get on their own feet in business. And another lady who was, I'm just trying to remember their type, social media, that was it. Someone who was teaching me how to use social media, and then a coach. And all 4 of those women came to my life at that time, and I kind of spoke to them regularly, and they helped me to decide on what I was going to do. And I knew that I had to step away from such a demanding role. So instead, I have now taken on training with training teachers, but I've also started my own consulting business. And I think when you go through difficult times and then you come out the other end, and those people around you kind of bring you to a different point. And now I look back and say, oh, why didn't I do this sooner? And how did I miss these opportunities before? And obviously I had a different goal in mind, but I just wanted to mention these 4 amazing women on Women's Day because they have been there for me. And I think I just want to say thank you to them. They know who they are, I think, if they're listening. And yes, so I think just what I learned from that is to find mentors, think about what you really want from life, and then, you know, go and get it. So thank you.
Wow. Wow, that is such an inspirational story, and that is your real story. Amazing, amazing. I'm sure by the time we leave this event, we are all enriched with so much of inspiration and learning. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Thank you very much. And moving on, I go to Claire. Claire, kindly talk to us about yourself.
So I've debated long and hard about which bit to talk about. But so for me, the move from England to Zambia with 2 tinies, I had 2 tiny children. I had a 2.5 and a 4.5, and no job. And I took my English job with me, but it didn't really take off. It was before computing. It was 2006, so it was before working online really worked well. And so meeting that man on the plane that then ended up with me working for him for 10 years was transformational in that period. But then moving back from Zambia with now 3 not so tinies, I had 13, 11 and 7. And to bring children who'd grown up in Africa with bare feet and, living wild back to outside London, putting on uniforms for the first time, and all that journey while having a full-time, at the time I was chief product officer for an ed tech company, and I developed this product for them. Bringing them back and navigating that journey into a totally different culture was extremely difficult. And in Zambia, my life balance had been so good. I took my children to school every day. I brought them home every day. It was really easy. It just worked. And everybody accepted that I wasn't in the office for a whole day. I was just in there for a period of time. And then I was online at home, and it worked. It didn't work as well for me when I came back to England. For whatever reason, it might have been my attitude, all sorts of reasons, but I just didn't feel that it was working as well. And the hours were getting longer and all the rest of it. So the decision to leave that company and set up on my own was really driven a lot by this need to get that balance back of being there for my children, particularly when their whole worlds were falling apart. And I remember my daughter coming home. We have this sitcom in England called EastEnders, which you may or may not know about. And she came home and she said, "Mummy, what's EastEnders? I don't know," because we didn't have a television. They didn't know about these things, and there was so much they had to learn how to be in this new world in this country, and I needed to be there to support them. So the decision to start my own company and to build this app and sort of step out of the 9 to 5 was enormous. I mean, I would never have thought to do that. And I remember saying to my husband at one point, he worked for himself, and it was like, I never want to work for myself. Well, here I am working for myself. But I've been home with my children all through this pandemic. I've been there to support them on their journey. And for me, at the end of my life, what do I want and what's the most important thing? It's was I there to raise my children and help them through their journey? And also, I need my own identity as a professional. Beyond being a mum and a wife and a daughter and a whatever, I need to be a professional. I need to be seen as somebody who's out there leading and knowing where they're going. So it lets me, by being my own boss, it lets me drive my own profession while still managing the family. And I'm working from a Leaky World headquarters, where I am right now, aka the shed. It works, and the shed is good because I'm away from home, but I'm here, and it works. So that's me.
And imagine all throughout these transitions, we never stop working. There's always something going on. Either we're cooking, we're managing the cook, we are doing the grocery, we are trying to multitask, and we're ordering something on the phone. So yeah, wow. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And I move on to Jennifer. Jennifer, kindly talk to us about your experience.
Sure. These are just all such amazing stories. This is awesome. So I just actually, my husband and I separated for a year. So this is kind of like the start of what happened. And my kids were all really young. I had twins that were, I think, 3 at the time, and then 5. And I just had like one thing after another start happening. I had 2 house fires in the hotel for like 3 months at each time, and a car accident, and the list goes on. And here I am teaching. At the time, I was teaching life skills and working at a residential treatment center for girls. And so I was coming home, and I'm like running around, and my kids are like running me ragged, and I'm like doing everything for them. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I mean, I'm pulling out my hair. Like, how do I do this? And all of a sudden it hit me like, Jen, you teach life skills for like 15 years at this point. I'm like, what are you doing? This is insane that you're not bringing your work home. This is the job that you can bring your work home, right? So, so I just, that's when I started collecting all of the stuff that all the different jobs I'd had that with the life skills, and then I created the game that I saw, and my friend, and I just was going to use it for my own kids. And then my friend saw it and she's like, you have to do something with this. And so she just, this lady just threw me off into this world of entrepreneurship and working on my own. And I finally was able to just do what I'd always wanted to do, which was, take these life skills. Like when I worked in prison, everybody would say, why didn't we learn this sooner? And the girls, I would think, God, I'm teaching these life skills, but they're going to go home, and then who are they talking to? They're talking to their parents and their family and friends where they learn these life skills, right? And so they're going to try to be speaking in a way that isn't going to be accepted. And so I'd always wanted to be able to be part of something where I was sneaking the life skills into the family, where the parents and the kids and everybody can be working together to be learning these skills together and speaking the same language. And so I finally, that was my dream. And so now I'm living it. So yeah, everything's turned around full circle. So it's awesome.
Super. Wow. I had not planned, but listening to all you lovely women and daring women, I think of one tiny incident which is registered in my mind. It was very, very difficult for me to obtain a job in US. And long story short, after one stint, two stint, I get to work with the government of US, EPA. And it's like the it moment, and everything is going well. And I'm 1 month into the job. The second month, I get a call from India that my mother-in-law is sick and I need to be there. And I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I had just taken up that, I remember the site was called as Del Monte, and we were trying to do the remediation work there. And I'm like, how am I going to even get there? How am I even going to do that? But I had support of the family, and I had some kind of a way to work it out for 10 days. And yes, but then the anxiety that builds up and the way we fight it out and still support our family, that stays with us. Yeah. All right, great. I move to Ritu. Talk to us about your incident or your balance.
Thank you, Simran, once again. Well, I started my career long back. And like I just mentioned, that I was never supposed to be in this arena. But then with my husband doing his PhD, and I had to keep my daughter busy and myself busy without disturbing him, I started volunteering into YWCA. And there I met some wonderful people. And I picked up my threads from there, basically learning threads, I would say. And I started learning how to handle things in the daycare center, how to work with the young children, which I had never done, except that I had a young daughter of 3-year-old. But then I found some wonderful people out there, and slowly and gradually they asked me to work in their preschool also, because they saw that I'm an eager learner, and I started really learning. I never knew I'm going to come back to India, but unfortunately for some reasons I had to come back. And when I came back, my father told me, do you still want to be in the teaching line? I said, yeah, that's what I have equipped myself with. I mean, I never knew I was going to come back or I'm going to be doing this and I have to get my livelihood out of it. But I was learning because I just wanted to learn. I was enjoying. And when I came back, I started teaching, and I started working in schools as a nursery teacher, as a KG teacher, and then I climbed up my ladder slowly and gradually. So a lot of hand-holding was there for me in the beginning, because I never had that formal education in the early childhood. But over the years, I was a very eager learner, and I still, if I get an opportunity to learn from somebody, I'm really ready to learn at this stage of my life also, so that I can empower the other teachers who are young, who are coming up, where I can share my experience. Believe it or not, in 2007, my principal told me, she says, I cannot promote you. I said, why? She says, you're a good teacher. You're handling things very well, but you don't have that paper. Remember that. I said, okay, you want the paper. So believe me, I did my teacher's training in 2007 after all my years of experience. So that's how I worked up. And when I retired in 2014, I came out with a book for the children, Topcraft. And then after 2 years, I with another book. And then there's no looking back because, like I said, now I'm a content writer. I specialize in content writing for the early childhood literacy program, for all the CSR programs that are going on here in Gurgaon and near Delhi. So it has been a very, very wonderful experience with that. And for this, I thank my parents for being my strength. They were my backbone. They would always say, yes, like you all have been juggling between home and work. They would say, go out, get the work done. So I didn't have to worry about the work, getting the grocery, or whether the dhobi is coming or not for ironing clothes or anything. It was, I concentrated on my work, and I really appreciate all the people who helped me out, who empowered me to do. And I was at times out of my comfort zone also, because when you are learning, most of the time you are out of your comfort zone, and that's the way you can empower yourself. So I feel the journey has not been easy, but it has been a wonderful journey, and I thank everyone who helped me on the way. So I take this platform to thank all the people right from the beginning of my career to here. And now I'm an early childhood specialist instead of a textile designer, which I'm supposed to be. But yes, I use my textile designing in my early childhood education also, because I do a lot of art and craft, and I do a lot of uh, activities with the children, fun activities.
Thanks, Nitya.
So
Thank
over
you
to
so
you.
much
Thank
for sharing that
you.
with us. I will move to Swaleen. We have like about 15 minutes and we have two more segments to squeeze in. Swaleen, over to you.
All right. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I think life begins, as Rita was actually saying, life begins again at the end of your comfort zone. And that's what actually happens. After going through 3 miscarriages and losing my in-laws at a very early age, I mean, I was just 26 when I lost both my in-laws. There was a catastrophic fire at our workstation which burnt out everything and we were dashed to the ground. I mean, from riches to rags was a story that I saw. And I was working as a teacher at that time. I was PGT English. And then finally, kids happened. Life had, I think, almost tried to change. But they say, it never rains, it always pours. My husband went into severe depression after getting that news of the catastrophic fire at our workplace. And now I think I had to manage everything on my own. I had to do what I had not been doing till now. And I had to get out of that comfort zone. I had to move on. Finally, we switched over from our native place to a metro, wherein we've established our business, and thankfully things started to go well with him. And in a year or year and a half's time, he was back to being normal for the treatments and things happening at a right pace. So now, when the kids were too small, I mean, they were just two and a newly born child, an infant. I was thinking that I couldn't go out for a job, leaving all both of them alone. My instinct didn't allow me, but what was I supposed to do? So I was a cookery diploma holder. So I started taking cookery classes at home. Just to make sure that I was busy, I was occupied, I was not giving up on my passion of working. And then slowly and steadily, I thought that the artistic tinge in me had started to bloom out more. Eventually it was giving pace to all my artistic thoughts. And I started to do poetry. Like one of the edition, 7 poems got published in a Russian book also. And then after that, there was something more sprouting up very fast. I did a Choose Your Pecking Center, wherein I got whole wedding as my wedding plan. I just became a wedding planner. It was like packing and stuff, and they liked my ideas, and definitely it picked on. Everything went well from home for 2 to 3 years, and then I went back to my job. Finally, International Public Speaking Championship happened, and I became the champion of International Public Speaking Champion 2019. So then and there, I thought the kids have grown up, they're almost teenagers. It's the right time when I have to again move out of my comfort zone, again move out of my home, do something bigger that is still urging in me. And then I started to move on. I built my own company, The Talk Room. That's a personality and a communication school. Definitely working at a big stretch for youth. And I didn't know. I mean, it went international, it went to places, and it's got me here where I am. And then, meanwhile, in the lockdown, I wrote my maiden book, which was there in my mind since I was a child. So all these things happening to me it was just a roller coaster ride. But I'm so glad the way that I have managed, because I think you cannot be happy if you've not tasted something bitter. Sweet doesn't taste that sweet if the bitter hasn't been there. So I had tasted those bitter things. They were just like the stepping stones, and I'm glad to be where I am today.
Wow, Swarnim. Wow. Actually, it is like every time I hear one of you speak, I go, wow, I can't stop. I can't stop smiling. My cheeks are hurting. Very good. A big round of applause to each one of us. And can we pat ourselves on the back? Super. Well done. And we have the last 10 minutes in this segment and in this event, and we are going to divide it into 5-5. 5 is for our quick rapid fire witty game, and last 5 is going to be a very quick message from all of us to the educators and women out there. So let's move on to the game first. I request all of you to unmute. I will say one word and you can say one witty sentence, and I would just request for you to let somebody else finish if they're already speaking. Okay, so here is the so I'm going to say one word and you can say a witty word or a witty sentence. Cook.
I can't cook.
Abigail.
It's my passion.
Okay, you get a cook. Let's say you have a busy day and you see a cook on your door. What is your reaction?
Fabulous.
Next is here.
Blessing.
Blessing. Okay, next one. Traffic. You're trying to reach home. Children are hungry. Husband is hungry. Traffic.
Nightmare.
Monster.
Break.
Frustrating.
Relax.
Okay, the next one. Family.
Lovely.
Love.
Love.
Life.
A nut house. A nut house. Everybody's crazy.
Okay, the next one is going to be very good. Me time.
Bliss.
Rare.
Every day, please.
If you get it, it is field day.
Very nice. Super. Coffees, teas, whatever you like. Coffee.
Fantastic.
Rejuvenating.
Very nice.
It's an energizer. It's a
Energizer.
perk in our.
We all had.
Okay, the next one. Lockdown.
Blessing.
I look at Dr. Wasabi, she goes, no.
That's introspective. Thinking.
Very nice. Lockdowns was basically reflecting in ourselves. First, we got afraid. We were very scared to look into ourselves. Then we got okay with ourselves. We had stopped running.
It's learning new things. We learned a lot of new things.
Okay, you rush from work, you come home and you're thinking, okay, I have to make dinner. You open the fridge, there's nothing.
Maggie.
Make khichdi. Simple.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, literally, the Indian dish.
And Jennifer, those are instant noodles. Those packet noodles, those are very
My
famous.
son loves them.
Yes. Okay. Busy day, extremely busy day, calls, and you go into the kitchen to fix yourself a cup of tea, and you see the kitchen water pipe is leaking.
Take a
Husband.
shower.
Husband.
Not my job.
Take a shower.
Not my job. I would call my husband.
And shut the door of the kitchen.
Okay.
Cool it
One
down.
last
Take
one.
a shower.
One last one. Weekend, you see a very disturbing email from work or a parent.
I'll do it on Monday. Deal with it on Monday.
I saw 1 minute everybody thinking when I said weekend and you see an email which is very disturbing, either it is from work or a parent of yours. See, we all
I take it. I address that.
Yeah, we need to deal. Yeah, we need to deal with it.
I think
Yeah.
it's not
Work
past
is
by,
passion.
you know, that weekend thing. How can I process it? I think we process it, deal it. I just call the parent. A grieving
Yeah,
parent.
yeah.
Call.
I address that.
I agree there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that
How you
weekend would be
manage your
very
time,
painful for
and
me.
You do it. You do it. It's your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides,
Even if it's a Sunday morning, I just call, say happy Sunday. What's up? Why did you get upset? Let me resolve it for you. All right.
Sometimes the weekend helps for it to change though. So by Monday, sometimes what's happened then is actually different on Monday.
Too good. Absolutely.
Point. Really good point.
Wow.
I would find it hard to sit on it for me over the weekend as well. So it's whether it's going to
get it done. We all
Depends what it is.
This is what it is. Okay, super. Now for the last segment, I want you all to say advice, a piece of advice in terms of a quote, in terms of poem. Remember, we have just last 6 minutes, and I will start with Abigail.
Oh, do you mind if I share it? Because it's easier. It won't take long. I'll just get it up. Can you see that?
Not yet. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I found this quote when I was going through my treatment and, you know, trying to work out life and get better. And it really helped me to put it into perspective. So what if you were actually very blessed because you got to experience something hard, that you now have a depth and understanding, awareness and overcoming and strength that not all human beings get the opportunity to receive.
lovely.
Super. Dr. Wasabi?
I've got a quote which I want to read out, and it's for all the girls out there. To all the, and this is by Hillary Clinton. To all the little girls who are watching this, never doubt that you are valuable and powerful and deserving of every chance and opportunity in the world to pursue and achieve your dreams. So that's my message to everyone.
Wow, Dr. Wasabi, thank you. Claire, over to you.
Mine is live with a mission, work with a mission, play with a mission, be with a mission.
Super. Jennifer?
Mine was always just keep swimming, from Finding Nemo or from actually Finding Dory. Just keep going, just keep swimming, and I would like sing it, just like Ellen DeGeneres did. Just keep swimming.
Super. Too good. Rita?
As rightly said by Jaron L. Davis, it is a motivation and knowing you are learning, growing, and succeeding toward your desired outcome while sustaining positive momentum to empower oneself. And that's when you feel truly confident about who you are.
Wow, super. Over to you, Swaleen.
All right, I'll say my quote. Desire, dedication, and determination are the chapters of a book called Success. And here I read the poem for everyone. They call her as an embodiment of peace and sacrifice. Only she knows what she goes through to rise. The journey of a woman has a beautiful story to narrate, from a daughter to a wife, and then a mother so brave. She's calm and quiet, sober and gentle. The spark to fight with odds, a strong metal. You can be friend with her sorrows and grief. She will be quick enough to brief. She carries in herself a radiance of million stars. All she needs is equality, justice, and you see her bloom like a flower. So very happy Women's Day to all of you there.
Wow, super. Thank you very, very much. And we are going to wrap with this. And I will share my screen for our parting quote and something that I would want everybody to remember, especially on our very important day. Let me see if I can share that. If not, then I'll read it out. Is this visible?
Yes, Simran.
Wow, I love it.
She remembered who she was and the game changed. This is enough for us, ladies. All we need to do is remember who we are, what we have gone through, be the resilient ones we are, always have been, and do not forget. She remembered who she was and the game changed. So thank you for being with us this evening. I enjoyed every bit of hearing to you, ladies, and I hope we can keep in touch. And to our audience out there, thank you very much for joining us. Do log into our webpage. Do like us on Facebook, ECDF. And thank you, Dr. Wasabi, once again. And we are signing off. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.